What if Gohan was born with God Ki? Well, we're going to be discovering just that today. What is up, guys? My name is Zether, and I'm here to drop a What If movie. This is going to be my first ever rodeo at What If Dragon Ball Stories. Now, I have done one of these before as a little bit of a test run. However, I was quite disappointed with the results. But this time, I took my time to script it. I took a lot of thought and I put a lot of time into the story. So in case you're any new viewers who have seen my channel around as a My Hero Academia What Ifer or a Naruto What Ifer, well, I'm happy to have you guys here. With that being said though, guys, if any of you guys have any comments, tips, or suggestions for how I can improve my storytelling for the Dragon Ball stuff, then I would love to hear any of your feedback. With that being said, if you go on to enjoy the video, please make sure to hit that like button, seeing as it helps out way more than you guys think. And with that being said, this video is going to be a sponsored one. However, there will be more details on that midway through the video. With that being said, let's get right into the what if. So we're going to be picking off our story on the day of Gohan's birth. In this version of events, Gohan is going to be born just like any other kid around. He's not going to be born with any flashes of his red hair form or any of that. Gohan is quite literally going to have that power dormant within himself, and he's never even going to notice it until the day of the Kami House attack, the day of the Saiyan saga, and the arrival of Raditz. That being said, let's get into what would happen. So, just like usual, Raditz would of course arrive on Earth in his Saiyan pod, as of course he's going to start scouting around the area for very strong power levels when he's of course going to run into Piccolo. That being said, Raditz of course flies off over there where he sees a Namekian and he's just like, "Namekian, what are you doing here?" Piccolo would look at him as he would say, "Huh? What are you doing here? This isn't your place. Get lost." As immediately Raditz would not like his tone, so he would proceed to pretty much put Piccolo in his place. A clean punch to Piccolo's stomach would send him flying across miles. And after that, Raditz would just simply crack his knuckles as he would say, "I don't have any time to waste." He would then turn on his scouters. He would begin to look around for any, large power levels, as he would lock his scouter onto one location, a place where there seems to be a lot of power levels that are pretty weak. However, there is one that's a little bit on the higher side of things. Raditz, after seeing this, would end up flying over to the area where there would be a power level of about 500. I believe Goku was around there when he suppressed. I'm not too sure when it comes to power levels on all these things, but Goku isn't exactly going to be the biggest power level around. That being said, Raditz would arrive as we would of course have Goku being there with his son Gohan, spreading the news that he has a child and that he got married to Chi-Chi. Everybody would be pretty excited to see Gohan, and Goku would just be having a great time. Everything would be going pretty great, honestly, up until Raditz finally shows up. This is when Krillin would finally go up to him and say, "Hey buddy, what are you doing here?" As Raditz would kick Krillin straight into the wall, and Goku would get on guard immediately. This is when Gohan would stand right behind Goku and hold onto his leg, as Goku would say, "What are you doing here?" Raditz would say, "Kakarot, you look just like our father." As immediately Goku would say, "What are you talking about? Who's Kakarot?" Raditz would go on to explain that he's a Saiyan, and that he's here to claim his brother and gain his help with defeating a tyrant by the name of Frieza. Goku would immediately decline, saying that that's not his problem and that he doesn't know who this Kakarot is. As Raditz would say, "Kakarot, what are you?" As he would look at his tail and say, "Kakarot, don't tell me. You cut off your tail? How could you? That's the source of our power." He would immediately begin to freak out at Goku as he's like, "Yeah, I did. I cut it off a long time ago. It was nothing but a problem." As Raditz basically proceed to get angered and tell Goku that he's going to give him one more chance. If he goes on to destroy, if he goes on to kill however many humans that, if he has to kill 1,000 humans, right? And if he does, then Goku will be able to go with him, and maybe they'll even bring his son along, seeing as he's a half-breed. That being said, Raditz would kidnap Gohan as he would kick Goku straight in the gut, causing Goku to literally cough out blood, and he would grab Gohan by the shirt as he would fly off with his son. Gohan would scream, "Daddy!" as, normal Gohan would, as it's at this point that Goku would look up, clenching his teeth, saying, "Damn it, he's too strong. This is when we would then have Piccolo fly in about 30 minutes later, as we would then have Goku and Piccolo look down at each other as they would say, not really the best time, as Goku would be getting on guard, thinking the worst, that right now Piccolo came to finally claim his revenge, but he would tell Goku that he wants to work together in order to stop that guy, that, you know, he ended up doing something to him, so he needs to get even, right? So Goku would actually end up accepting Piccolo's offer to basically team up, and this is when they would end up flying off over to Raditz's location. They would end up sensing Raditz's ki as they would fly over there, and this is when Raditz would finally see Goku coming in. He would smile, saying that, Kakarot, looks like you finally came around. Hurry up, let me see the proof of all these people that you killed. As it's at this point that he would basically land, and he would show, like, he would basically fake a facade of saying, yeah, I did what you asked. Now give me my son. As Raditz would say, now Kakarot, where's the proof? As it's at this point that Goku would say, there is none. As he would rush at Raditz, and Raditz would quite literally grab Goku by the hair as he would shove his knee right into his face. Goku would have zero reaction to this, as it was way too fast for him to react, and this is when Raditz would grab him as he would throw him onto the ground. When Piccolo would rush in and begin to try to throw a bunch of hits at Raditz, but Raditz would just dodge as if it was nothing. And this is when Goku would then fly over to Gohan's pod as he's like, Gohan, don't worry, I'll get you out of here. He would start pressing a couple of buttons until Raditz would finally get enough of Piccolo and punch him right in the neck, causing Piccolo to fall down limp on the ground. Piccolo would be heavily injured, as this is when he would fly over to Goku and knee him right in the stomach, causing Goku to cough out blood right in front of Gohan's eyes. This would cause Gohan to lose himself to an incredible amount of rage. And this is when, in an amazing turn of events, Gohan's rage would cause his hair to turn red, his eyebrows, his eyes. He would drop down to a power level of 0 when Gohan would explode the Saiyan pod. In a rage, he would say, don't touch my daddy! He would immediately rush at Raditz as he would fly at him, and seeing as Gohan has God Ki, would quite literally rip Raditz. He would kill him. There's absolutely zero surviving for Raditz. Not only that, but Raditz was crushing down on Goku's head. He was stomping on him, telling him that he's a weakling, saying he never's gonna amount to anything, and if father and mother would have seen him in this state, they would have been embarrassed. They would have been embarrassed to even call him a Saiyan warrior. He would have ended up telling Goku that he's gonna take his son and take him to Vegeta, where he's gonna become a tyrant just like them. And Goku would have been angered by this, but this is when immediately he would turn to see Gohan coming at them. Raditz would have been able to sense not a thing because Gohan's power level dropped down to a 0. He noticed on the scouter that his power went down to 0, but he just thought that he slept or something. But Gohan would come in from behind and break his spine as Raditz would get killed right on the spot. Oh no, not right on the spot, but he would be paralyzed. It's at this point that Raditz would be on the ground as he would cough out blood and say, Kakarot. He would immediately look at Goku as Goku would stand up dusting himself off, and then look at Gohan as he would say, Gohan, what was that? As Gohan would look at him and say, Daddy! He would be like angered and like shocked as he would look at Raditz and just have like an angered look on his face. This is when Goku would say that's enough, as it's at this point that he would ask him what he's talking about. Raditz would start smirking and say that it doesn't matter if they defeated him. The other Saiyans will come. They'll avenge him. They'll come and take Goku and kill everybody on this miserable planet. As Goku would say that he's not going to let that happen, but Raditz would chuckle and breathe his final breath. As it's at this point that Goku would look at Gohan and end up realizing what just happened. His power, it dropped down to 0. He could feel it. There was no way that Gohan did that. As it's at this point that Piccolo would finally stand up and say, looks like your boy is pretty powerful, huh? You're going to need to train that kid if we're going to be able to stand up to the next couple of warriors that are coming. We don't know how many people are on their way or what's the next threat that awaits us. He said they're far more powerful than him, so we're going to definitely need to train. Goku, after hearing these words from Piccolo, would say that he might hate to say this, but they're probably going to have to work together if they're going to have any hope of stopping the Saiyans. Piccolo would nod and say that he has that thing right. As it's to this point that Goku would end up looking at Piccolo and asking him for a truce. He would stick his hand out, to which Piccolo would begrudgingly shake. And it's at this point that the 1 year of training would finally begin. This is when Goku and Piccolo would end up flying off to the Sorry that I keep stuttering so much, but it's because my Dragon Ball knowledge is like kind of like low when it comes to my Hero Academia or my Naruto knowledge. With when it comes to those things, I kind of just zoom it and like I kind of speed run it. But with this, I'm trying to take my time and trying to not to mess up too much, even though I'm messing up quite a bit. But that's not the point. Anyways, so yeah, they would end up going to Kami's tower, the lookout, and this is when they would pretty much end up arriving, as they would ask Kami if he knows what that strange power that came from Gohan was. Goku would say that his hair flashed red for a second, and it's at this point that they would basically end up just not knowing anything. This is when they would have the idea of asking Shenron, but the Dragon Balls would need to be looked for. So Goku would end up telling Kami to end up training his son Gohan for about the next couple of hours, teaching him just the basics of martial arts. As Piccolo would, before Kami even gets a chance to do a thing, would grab Gohan and end up taking him off, trying to take him off to train him himself, saying that his training is going to be far too light. They're going to need to toughen this boy up before these Saiyans arrive. As this is when Goku, would not knowing anything, would end up just searching for the Dragon Balls for the next couple of hours. And when he would return to the lookout with all 7 in hand, he would realize that Gohan is not there. He would get angered, as he would then fly over to Piccolo and tell him that this is not the way, as Piccolo would say that they have to do something to get him stronger, and babying him is not going to get him anywhere. This is when Gohan would say that it takes time to become strong at what they do. They need to give him just that. And maybe Gohan doesn't have to be the key to defeating the Saiyans. They can do it themselves. Piccolo would begrudgingly just accept that, as Goku would say, besides, we're not going to know how to train him properly. As he would drop all 7-star Dragon Balls on the ground and say, Shenron, grant me my wishes. As it's at this point that Shenron would appear, the sky would turn black, and Goku would look up at the dragon as he would say, I only have a question. As Shenron would say, speak your wish. This is when he would say, why does my son possess such great power? As Shenron's eyes would flash red, and he would begin to explain to Gohan to Goku that Gohan has the power of the Super Saiyan God within him. He would say that he was born with this magnificent power of the gods. As Goku would be shocked hearing this, he would say, how do I train him with this? As Shenron would begin to explain that he simply needs to gain control over his mind and body. He needs to have a calm mind whenever he's using this power, or simply have enough willpower that that power simply activates, or something like that. I don't know. Kind of pulling this out of my ass, not gonna lie, but just go with it. Just go with it, all right? Shh. Don't call me out on my BS, all right? Just go with the what if, all right? Anyways, this is when Goku would hear this and say, huh. So all it takes is normal training. As he would then clench his fist and look at his son Gohan, as he would say, perfect. This is when the 7-star Dragon Balls would fly away, and they would basically turn into stone for the next couple of months, not a year, because they didn't use all 3 wishes. That being said, this is when they would finally begin the 1 year of training with Gohan. For the first couple of months, Goku would primarily focus all of his efforts on Gohan, but after seeing that Gohan was kind of a slow learner, he decided that maybe instead of focusing so much on Gohan, he himself should get stronger alongside Piccolo. So that's exactly what Goku and Piccolo would do. They would become each other's training partners and train every day for hours, as they would continue getting stronger and stronger. Every day they would have, every month they would end up having a little bit of a battle to near death, which pushes them beyond their limits. And every time that Goku would train with Piccolo, he would get a pretty big Zenkai boost from this stuff. Gohan, seeing his father train the way that he does, would end up getting a little bit of a motivation, as he would get a boost in wanting to train himself, and Gohan would begin to try training by himself all on his lonesome. He would begin to mimic the moves that he would see his father doing, like the kicks and the punches, and he would even begin to try to use the Kamehameha. On his first attempt, Gohan would create a giant Kamehameha blast, as he would say, Kamehameha! The blast would go flying, and it would actually be about 4 times bigger than the one that Goku did when he was a child at first. Goku, seeing this, would be pretty impressed, and this is when he would begin to focus his attention onto Gohan more. As it's at this point that Goku would realize that if he continues down this path, Gohan will probably be ready, but what about himself? How's this gonna work? This is when Goku would end up getting a pretty bright idea out of nowhere. He would end up thinking one thing. Wait, time. We need time. As he would end up saying that what if we could use the lookout? As he would then go up to Kami and ask him if they can use the lookout. To which Kami would say that they sure can, but it might be risky because of Gohan's young age. Goku would say that they won't be using it for the full year. They're only going to need it for about 6 months. They just need a little bit of a boost to help them, all get strong enough. As Kami would end up saying that, yeah, sure, he doesn't see why not. As it's to this point that he would end up basically telling Goku and Piccolo that sure enough that they can use the thing. As it's at this point that all three of them would go inside because Piccolo only needs water. So they would all be able to train in the 6 months of training. And during these 6 months, half of the day is used to train Gohan and kind of teach him meditation skills, as well as how to calm his rage boosts and quell the anger within Gohan, as well as the fear for fighting that's slowly going away every day, seeing as he's training with his father, somebody who Gohan knows he can trust, somebody who doesn't push Gohan beyond his limits, and somebody who takes into consideration that Gohan is just a kid, that this may not even be what he wants to do. Goku would continue training Gohan, and this is when slowly Gohan would finally, after the 6 months are over, be able to tap into the power of God Ki for brief bursts, like 10-second bursts of power. But that causes a big strain on his body because it causes Gohan to have to use an immense amount of concentration in order to be able to use this power in the first place. Not only that, but it's pretty hard in and of itself. That being said, though, this is where we would basically proceed to cover what Goku got. So in the Saiyan saga, Goku ended up getting a power level of, I'm pretty sure it was 9,000. Yeah, it's over 9,000. And he got pretty strong, right? But in this version of events, because he had an extra 6 months, not only that, but he had a training partner, which ended up taking away half of the time that he had to, climb Snake Way, plus the trip back. He ended up actually getting significant boosts to the ones that he ended up getting in canon. If, let's say, his power level in this version of events is going to be a power level of 25,000. Yup, 25,000. Don't question me. He has a power level of 25,000. It's going to be an easy GG against the Saiyans. Actually, nah, that's maybe a little tad too broken. We're going to say his power level is 20,000. All right. He has a power level of 20,000. All right. All right. Yeah. 20,000 seems about right. It's nothing too insane, but nothing too out of this world, right? All right. So, yeah. This is when the training would finally be over, and the other Z Warriors would have, of course, also been training as well. So they would all prepare and get to the area where the Saiyans would inevitably land. This is when the Saiyans would arrive, and seeing as Goku and Piccolo and Gohan are all there, when the Saiyans arrive and Nappa and Vegeta arrive, Vegeta would immediately look at Kakarot as he would say, so you're the famous Kakarot. You were able to defeat your brother in battle. He was a weakling, nothing like us. He would then look towards Nappa's direction and say, Nappa, why don't you show him the power of a proud Saiyan warrior? As immediately, Nappa would say, alright Vegeta, I'm gonna show him and put him in his place. This is when Nappa would immediately rush at Goku's direction, as Goku would pretty much use Nappa as his plaything. Goku would easily be able to kick Nappa away, as Nappa would get kicked into the mountains, and Goku would make child's play out of Nappa. This is when Vegeta would tell Nappa to stop. He would say, stop it, you buffoon. He would say, that Kakarot, leave Kakarot to me. You handle the rest of them. As Nappa would then look straight at Gohan's direction, who would immediately get scared, and he would then begin to tremble in fear in front of Nappa. As Nappa would rush at Gohan, this is when Piccolo would come in, and the rest of the Z fighters would rush at Nappa. All of them would begin to try to tag team him, but many of them are very weak, except for Piccolo. Piccolo has a power level of 12,000, right? He's a power level, no, let's say Piccolo has a power level of 18,000. So Piccolo is actually able to make child's play out of Nappa. However, Piccolo wants Gohan to be the one who gets the final blow. So Piccolo would serve as more of a backup role while he wants to get Gohan to get over that fear. This is when Gohan would be about to get blasted by a mouth beam by Nappa, while Piccolo let his guard down. And instead of Piccolo being the one who ends up actually getting in the way, instead, it would be Tien. Tien would jump it right in front of Gohan to evade the blast, as he was trying to actually deflect it, but the beam would be far too powerful. Tien would be eviscerated, and Gohan would just be standing there in utter fear. This is when Gohan would unleash a power within himself that he hasn't unleashed in quite a while, as his hair would go red and everything about his aura would drop down to a power level of 0. Vegeta would be distracted by a second, as Goku would land a punch straight on Vegeta's jaw, causing Vegeta to get flung away miles. And this is when Gohan would rush at Nappa, as he would punch him straight in the stomach, causing a hole to appear inside of Nappa's abdominal area, as Nappa would drop down to the ground and die. This is when Gohan would turn his attentions towards Vegeta, as he would say, "You did this," as he would fly over towards Vegeta's direction, and this is when immediately he would begin to beat the ever-living crap out of Vegeta. Vegeta would start getting pummeled in an insane fashion by Gohan, and this is when Gohan would aim a blast straight at Vegeta's head, as Vegeta would stare and look up at Gohan. Gohan would say, "Don't you dare coming back to life," as he would shoot a beam. Psych, he wouldn't shoot the beam. Goku would come in front of Gohan as he would say, "Son, don't do it." And this would actually cause Gohan to get distracted long enough that the powers of God Ki would fade away, and Goku would stand right before Vegeta as he would say, "So, you still planning to destroy this planet?" As Vegeta would kind of had blood dripping out of his face, and he would have as much damage as he did by the end of the original battle of Z. As Vegeta would say, "Looks like your son is more powerful than you, Kakarot. What a disgrace to this Saiyan race." He would say, "I'll be back, and I'll kill all of you. Every single one of you, starting with that brat." As he would then climb into a Saiyan pod, and before he can even fly away, Goku would break the pod as he would punch it once, and Vegeta would pass out into unconsciousness. As this is when I'm going to be taking the time out of my day to explain fandom to you. Yes, I'm going to be explaining fandom to all of you guys. I hope you guys go on to enjoy this little bit of a little sponsor, as Zether is going to be explaining to you guys exactly what fandom is. Alright, so now it's time to tell you guys about Fandom. Now, Fandom is an online merch store company that sells pretty much anime apparel. Anything ranging from My Hero Academia to One Piece, from Demon Slayer to Naruto. They have a bunch of options to choose from, and up on screen right now, you guys should be able to see a bunch of options. Whether it be Tokyo Revengers, maybe I might put One Punch Man, maybe not. Maybe there will be Jujutsu Kaisen up there. Maybe there will be, another anime that I can think of, Dragon Ball. Maybe Dragon Ball might be there. They have pretty much any anime merch that you guys would want to wear. They pretty much have it, and it's at a very reasonable price, seeing as right now they're having a 50% sale on their already affordable stuff. So if you've ever wanted to get yourself some anime apparel, then I would definitely suggest going to Fandom. Anytime you guys go out there and you guys see a shirt or design that's from an anime like store-ish thing, they're always overpriced. See, a normal shirt that you'll find at a store will probably run you about $30. On Fandom, it'll be way cheaper. A hoodie? Don't even talk about how expensive a hoodie would be at a real store. And not only that, but Fandom does very good rates when it comes to shipping. So what are you waiting for, guys? Go shop at Fandom now. And with my code Zether, you can even get 5% off your order. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you guys go on to Fandom and copy yourself some merch for your boy. That being said, Zether out. Alright, so after that little sponsorship thing, we're going to get right back into the story. So this is when all the Z Warriors would basically end up just being like, alright, so Piccolo is still alive. And so they would end up basically just saying, alright, so Piccolo's still alive. You know, we're going to have to wait a couple of months for the Dragon Balls to be... Wait, no, they're not. The Dragon Balls are perfectly active. So they would, of course, end up just taking Vegeta to the hospital where Goku would stay just in case Vegeta was to try anything funny. And everybody else would begin to look for the Dragon Balls. They would, of course, wish Tien back to life. This is when they would also end up asking I'm not gonna spoil that. This is when they would basically end up just wishing Tien back to life, and after that the Dragon Balls would disperse once again. They would also ask to bring back all the people who died to the Saiyans, including, you know, the people who died to the little destruction, because when the Saiyans arrived, they ended up destroying like the city a little bit, so they brought those people back as well as Tien. So they ended up pretty much bringing back a couple of people back to life, and this is when we're going to switch back over to the hospital. Vegeta would wake up as he would say, "Kakarot, you should have just let me die. Now Frieza knows about this planet and he's gonna be on his way here. Anytime soon, you guys are going to have to deal with this tyrant." As Goku would say, "What are you talking about?" And Vegeta would then go on to explain who Frieza is. Goku would be like, "Sounds like this person's definitely going to be a threat." As he would then hear He would then grab Vegeta's scouter and turn it on, as he would then hear Frieza saying Namekian Dragon Balls. He would... Oh god, my bad. Bless me. Bless you. Bless me. Yeah, bless me. Yeah, sorry about that. No, but anyways, he would hear Vegeta on the little radio thing talking about making his way over to planet Namek to get the wish orbs. And this is when Goku's eyes would immediately open wide, as after hearing this, Vegeta would immediately say, we need to go to planet Namek before that being can wish for immortality. I know exactly what he's going to be wishing for, and if he gets that, there's not going to be a person alive who's going to be able to stop Frieza. This is when Goku would say that, I mean, that might be possible, but they have no means of getting there, as Vegeta would then say, well, we have a sane pod. Maybe, do you guys have any technology to create more? As this is when Goku would begin to think, and he would ask Bulma if they can make some pods, as she would end up finding Nappa's ship, and this is when she would begin her little improvements over it, as Vegeta would start slowly healing, and Goku would end up going over to Kami's lookout to get some senzu beans. He would toss one over to Vegeta, as Vegeta would heal up perfectly, and he would then tell Goku that they're definitely going to be needing to use this time to train and make their way over to planet Namek, as Goku would say that, yeah, they're definitely going to be needing that. This is when they would create the ships, and this is where I'm going to be leaving off. What if Gohan had God Ki? If you guys want part 2 for this amazing series, you guys are actually going to be needing to slap a like goal of 200 likes. I need 200 likes for the next part, and once I get that, I promise you guys I will be dropping the entirety of the Frieza saga and maybe even the Android saga. With that being said though, guys, if you guys went on to enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe in case you want more Dragon Ball Z content, as well as leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of the video, and with that being said, I love each and every single one of you guys. I hope you guys go on to have an amazing day, but Zether out. Peace.